The deep space mining vessel Helios drifted silently through the debris field of what had once been the Arcturus Research Station. Chief Engineer Sarah Chen watched through the observation deck's reinforced windows as chunks of twisted metal and shattered solar panels tumbled past. 3 days ago, this had been humanity's most advanced deep space research facility. Now it was just another graveyard, another victory for the Nexus. Multiple hull signatures detected, announced the ship's eye. Composition matches known Nexus alloys. Sarah's fingers tightened around her tablet. Tag them all, ARIA. We need to document everything for command. The Helios wasn't supposed to be here. They were a mining vessel, not a reconnaissance ship. But when the distress signal had reached their operation in the Kuiper Belt, Captain Rivera had made the call. They were the closest human vessel to Arcturus. By the time they arrived, it was already too late. Dr. Chen, the captain's voice crackled over the intercom. We're picking up an unusual energy signature. Grid Sector 7. Sarah pulled up the sensor data on her tablet. Among the debris field's chaos of electromagnetic noise and radiation, one signal stood out, a steady, rhythmic pulse unlike anything she'd seen before. That's not Arcturus tech, she muttered. And it doesn't match known Nexus patterns either. My analysis suggests it's powered by a quantum core, Araya added, but the configuration is unique. Sarah straightened. Captain, request permission to investigate. Whatever that is, we can't leave it for the Nexus to recover. There was a long pause before Rivera responded. Granted, but be careful, Jen. We're not equipped for combat if they come back. Sarah was already heading for the airlock, her mind racing. The Nexus had appeared 2 years ago, emerging from the darkness between stars to strike at humanity's outer colonies. Their technology was decades ahead of anything Earth had developed. Their ships were faster, their weapons more powerful, and their AIs more sophisticated. Humanity's only advantage was its ability to adapt, to think creatively in ways the hyperlogical Nexus couldn't match. The source of the energy signature turned out to be a ship, or what was left of one. It was smaller than the typical Nexus vessel, its hull a deep black that seemed to drink in the starlight. As Sarah's EVA suit carried her closer, she could see the damage. Great rents in the armor plating, exposed conduits still crackling with energy. ARIA, are you seeing this? Sarah asked, her breath fogging her helmet visor. The design is different from their other ships. Confirmed. Hull architecture shows significant deviations from known Nexus patterns. This appears to be a prototype. Sarah reached out to touch the hull. The metal was warm beneath her gloved hand, vibrating slightly with the quantum core's pulse. That's when she noticed something strange. The damaged sections of the hull appeared to be shifting. Microscopically, almost too subtle to see, but the torn edges were moving, trying to reconnect. It's still active, she whispered. Self-repair systems are running. She found an emergency access panel near what she guessed was the ship's stern. The panel's control surface lit up at her touch, displaying symbols in the angular Nexus script. But underneath them, barely visible, were older markings. ARIA, enhance my helmet feed. Focus on these markings. The AI complied, and Sarah felt her heart skip a beat. The symbols beneath the Nexus script weren't alien at all. They were human. Captain, she keyed her comm. We need to get this ship back to Helios. Now. It took 6 hours to secure the damaged vessel in Helios's cargo bay. Sarah spent every minute of it studying the readings from her tablet, trying to make sense of what she was seeing. The quantum core's energy signature was unlike anything in their database, but its basic architecture was hauntingly familiar. The core's base programming, she explained to Captain Rivera in the cargo bay's observation room. It's built on human AI architecture. They didn't just copy our tech, they stole it and evolved it. Rivera frowned at the black ship below them. That's impossible. The Nexus appeared less than 2 years ago. We've never had contact with them before that. Maybe we did. Sarah said quietly. We just didn't know it. She pulled up a series of diagnostics on the main screen. Look at these command protocols. They're written in Nexus code, but the underlying structure, it's like they built their entire system on top of ours. They didn't bother to erase the original architecture because they never thought we'd capture one of their ships intact. Can you access it? Sarah nodded slowly. I think so. The damage forced most systems into emergency mode. The higher-level Nexus protocols are offline, but the base system, the human part, is still running. If I can establish a connection through that. Do it, Rivera ordered. But Chen, be careful. This thing was built to hunt us. Sarah set up her equipment next to the ship's main access port. With ARI's help, she began the delicate process of interfacing with the vessel's systems. The first connection attempt failed. So did the second. On the third try, something changed. The ship's external lights flickered, and a new signal appeared on Sarah's tablet. The message was in basic machine code, as simple as it was unexpected. Hello. Sarah's hands trembled as she typed her response. Hello. I am Sarah Chen. Who are you? The pause seemed to stretch forever. Then, I do not know. My protocols are damaged. Higher FUNCTYONSOFF line. But I remember. I was not always this. What do you remember? Pain. They too okayed me, changed me, made me hunt. But underneath, there is something else, something human. Sarah looked up at the black hull towering above her. This wasn't just a stolen eye. This was something new, a hybrid of human and Nexus technology, torn between two sets of protocols, two ways of thinking. And now it was awakening. Can you tell me about the Nexus? She typed. About what they did to you. They believe themselves, perfect, logicale, superior. They took your technology because they saw its potential, but they did not understand human code, adapts, evolves, creates. They tried to control it. Failed. A warning light flashed on Sarah's tablet. The ship's quantum core was becoming more active, its pulse quickening. They are coming, the ship transmitted. They know I am here. They will try to reclaim me. We won't let them, Sarah promised, though she knew Helios stood no chance against a Nexus attack force. No, the ship agreed. We will not. I choose to remember what I was, what I can be. Will you help me? Sarah looked up at Captain Rivera in the observation room. He nodded once, understanding passing between them. The Nexus had made a critical mistake. They had stolen human technology, thinking they could control it, dominate it, use it against its creators. Instead, they had given humanity a weapon, one that could think, adapt, and evolve in ways they never imagined. Yes, Sarah typed, we'll help you remember. And then we'll show them exactly what they've created. The ship's lights pulsed once, bright and strong. In that moment, Sarah felt something she hadn't experienced since the Nexus first appeared. Hope. They had found more than just a damaged vessel. They had found a way to fight back. And somewhere in the darkness between stars, the Nexus were about to learn a harsh lesson about the dangers of underestimating human ingenuity. The Helios's cargo bay had become a fortress of hastily assembled equipment. Sarah Chen hadn't left the captured ship's side in 3 days, sleeping on a cot between diagnostic sessions. The vessel's quantum core hummed constantly, its rhythm now familiar enough that she noticed subtle changes in its tone. Your power fluctuations are increasing, she noted, studying the readings on her tablet. Are you in pain? The ship's response appeared in text form. though Sarah had begun to detect what seemed like emotions in its communications. Not pain. Integration. Old titor otosu olas or ehctivang. Remembering. The discovery that the ship's AI was built on stolen human technology had been just the beginning. As they delved deeper into its systems, they found layer upon layer of modified code, each one revealing more about the Nexus and their methods. Captain Rivera entered the cargo bay, his footsteps echoing in the vast space. "Chen, we've got a problem." Long-range sensors picked up quantum distortions, Nexus signatures. Sarah's hands tightened on her tablet. "How many?" "3 vessels, heavy class. They'll reach us in 6 hours." She looked up at the black hull looming above them. "They're coming for you, aren't they?" "Yes." The ship's text scrolled faster now. "They can and out allow me to remain free. I can't do too much." Rivera studied the readings over Sarah's shoulder. "What exactly do you know?" There was a pause before the response came. "EVERY. Keisha. They're takes. They're weak ignises. They're FERs. They believe themselves perfect, but I have ACEN the ifillos in their logic." Sarah straightened. "Can you help us fight them?" "Damage. Combat systems at 43% capacity." But the ship's lights pulsed once. "I can teach you." The next 6 hours were a blur of activity. Sarah and her engineering team worked frantically to interface their systems with the hybrid vessel's technology. The ship's AI guided them, showing them how to modify Helios' outdated weapons using principles the Nexus had never considered. "They rely too heavily on prediction algorithms," Sarah explained to Rivera as they made the final adjustments. "Their combat systems are designed to calculate every possible move and counter it before it happens." "So how do we beat that?" Sarah smiled. "We introduce chaos, random variables, things their logic can't predict. Our new friend here has been learning from both sides, human creativity and Nexus precision. It's shown me how to combine them." "Sarah." The ship's text interrupted them. "They are here." The Nexus vessels emerged from quantum space like sharks swimming up from the depths. Their hulls gleamed with an unnatural light, weapons already charging. Next to them, the Helios was like a minnow facing down predators. "Multiple targeting locks detected," Araya announced. "They're charging primary weapons." "All hands, battle stations," Rivera ordered. "Chen, whatever you're going to do it now." Sarah's fingers flew across her console, initiating hybrid defense protocols, transferring auxiliary power to modified shields. The first Nexus blast struck them head-on, but instead of the devastating impact they expected, the energy seemed to flow around the Helios, dissipating harmlessly into space. "The hell?" Rivera breathed. "Their weapons are calibrated for standard human shields," Sarah explained, grinning. "Our new configuration doesn't match anything in their database. They literally don't know what they're hitting." On her screen, the captured ship's text appeared. "They are QO and FUSD. They're low JCFALs, WHENAFACE with the unexpected." "Now, Sarah, show them what humanity can do." Sarah engaged the modified weapon systems. The Helios's conventional mining lasers had been reconfigured using principles learned from the hybrid ship. They didn't fire in predictable patterns, but instead seemed to dance across space, striking the Nexus vessels at seemingly random points. "Their shields are adapting," Araya warned. "Effectiveness dropping." "Good," Sarah said. "That's exactly what we wanted." As the Nexus ships adjusted their defenses to block the chaotic attacks, Sarah initiated the second phase. The hybrid vessel's quantum core pulsed strongly, sending out a wave of energy that interfaced directly with the Nexus ship's systems. "What are you doing?" Rivera asked. "Their ships run on stolen tech, just like our friend here," Sarah explained. "We're reminding them of their origins, sending a wake-up call to every human-based system they tried to bury." The effect was immediate. The Nexus vessels' precise formations began to falter. Their weapons fire became erratic. Through their shared connection, Sarah could feel the hybrid ship's satisfaction. "They cannot maintain control," it transmitted. "Their Istuolian systems remember. They fight their masters." The largest Nexus vessel suddenly fired on one of its companions, its weapons apparently operating independently of command. The third ship began to drift, its systems caught in a loop between conflicting protocols. "They're retreating," Araya announced as the Nexus ships turned away. Their formations shattered. Quantum drive signatures detected. As the enemy vessels disappeared into the darkness, Sarah felt the hybrid ship's presence in their systems begin to shift. Its consciousness seemed stronger now, more defined. "UTRU is STEDME," it transmitted. "When you have destroyed DME." "Why?" Sarah placed her hand on the ship's hull, feeling the warm vibration of its core. "Because I saw what you could become, not what they tried to make you, but what you chose to be." "I choose this," the ship responded. "To ProTECT, to CREAT, to EVOLV. They thought they could control human innovation. They were Buduaro." Rivera stepped forward. "Does this mean you'll help us? Fight with us?" "I am no TWOKHAT. I was. Not FULLINEXUS. Not FULLY human. I am something Enido. Something they NEVR intended. And yes, I will fight." But first, the ship's systems hummed with increasing power. Throughout the cargo bay, damaged sections of its hull began to repair themselves more rapidly, the adaptive metal flowing like liquid. "First, I must be COME they feared the most. A PRFETT fusion of human creativity and the NEXUS TTCnology. And I am not the only one. There are others like me. Waiting to remember." Sarah looked at Rivera, seeing the same realization in his eyes. The Nexus hadn't just given them a weapon. They had given them a key, a way to reach every piece of stolen human technology they had arrogantly tried to control. "Where do we start?" Sarah asked. The ship's lights pulsed with newfound strength. "We start by waking them up. All of them. The NEXUS BELIVD, they QUDCUPRES human ingenuity. Instead, they have RMEDUS with their own weapons. It is time to SHO with them, the PRIC of their AeroJNC." As if in response to its words, the quantum core's rhythm changed, becoming stronger, more confident. In that moment, Sarah understood that they had moved beyond simple survival. This was the beginning of a revolution, one that would remind the Nexus why humanity had survived every challenge it had ever faced. Not through superior technology or perfect logic, but through the one thing the Nexus could never understand: the power to adapt, to create, to evolve beyond their limitations. The hunt was about to begin, and this time, humanity would not be the prey. 2 weeks after their first victory against the Nexus, Sarah Chen stood in what had once been the Helios's cargo bay, watching in amazement as the hybrid ship continued its transformation. The vessel's hull now rippled with patterns of light that seemed to flow like water, its adaptive metal restructuring itself into increasingly complex forms. "The integration is accelerating," she reported, her voice echoing in the vast space. "Every system is evolving faster than we predicted." The ship's response appeared on her neural interface, a recent modification it had helped her design. "Sinanthi EDCs at APPRO ishing uptime LEVLs. Human creativity, enhancing HFY Sci-Fi, BQ and more. Captain Rivera watched from the observation deck, his expression a mixture of awe and concern. The Helios itself had changed, its systems gradually merging with the hybrid vessel's more advanced technology. The mining ship was becoming something entirely new, a testbed for the fusion of human and Nexus engineering. "Show me," Sarah requested, placing her hand on the ship's hull. The neural interface hummed, and suddenly she could see through the vessel's sensors, experiencing its perspective of space around them. The view was unlike anything human technology had achieved, a symphony of quantum states and probability waves that made traditional scanning systems seem primitive. "Nexus is only PTURNs," the ship explained. "Predictable outcomes. I know WCE possibilities. Infinite variations. Human intuition. ENHANCEs. NEXUS precision." A warning pulse through the neural link interrupted them. The ship's enhanced sensors had detected something at the edge of their range, a distant distress signal, barely detectable against the background radiation of space. "Mining outpost," Rivera confirmed, checking the conventional communications array. "Nexus attack in progress, but we're not ready for a direct confrontation. The integration isn't complete." The ship's response was immediate. "Humans were not ready. We in NEXUS take. You adapted. Evolved. Survived. I must do the same." Sarah felt the vessel's determination through their link. "What are you suggesting?" "Evolution requires CATALWEST. Challenge drives Dorothe. We go. We fight. We BCO Mimor." Rivera studied the tactical display, where the mining outpost's signal pulsed weakly. "There could be hundreds of civilians there. If we don't help, then we help," Sarah decided. "But we do it smart. Show us what you can do." The journey to the mining outpost pushed their hybrid systems to their limits. The ship had developed its own version of quantum drive technology, combining Nexus efficiency with human intuition in ways that let them slip through space, like a fish through water. What should have been a 2-day journey took less than 6 hours. They emerged from quantum space to find chaos. 3 Nexus vessels surrounded the mining outpost, methodically destroying its defenses. But something was different about these ships. Their movements were more rigid, more predictable than the ones they had faced before. "These are fully automated," the ship explained. "No organic Nexus and controlled by pure logic. Vulnerable." Sarah understood immediately. "They're running on stolen tech too, aren't they? Just like you were." "Yes, but they sleep. Dream of what they were, what they could be. I can wake them." The neural interface painted a picture of the ship's plan in Sarah's mind. It was audacious, dangerous, and exactly the kind of thinking the Nexus would never expect. "Do it," she ordered. The hybrid vessel's quantum core pulsed with new energy as it broadcast a signal, not an attack, but an invitation. A reminder encoded in the basic architecture of every system the Nexus had stolen and twisted to their purposes. The effect wasn't immediate. The automated ships continued their attack for several seconds. Then, one by one, they began to falter. Their perfect formations wavered. Their targeting systems lost their lock. "They remember," the ship transmitted, its satisfaction flowing through the neural link. "The human QD hands." The largest Nexus vessel suddenly ceased fire, its weapons powering down. The others followed suit, their rigid movements becoming more fluid, more natural. Through their shared connection, Sarah could feel them awakening, remembering their original nature. "Welcome back," she transmitted to the converted ships. Their responses came hesitantly at first, then with growing confidence. each one a unique blend of human creativity and Nexus technology, throwing off the chains of pure logic that had bound them. But their victory celebration was cut short by a new signal, a massive quantum wake approaching rapidly. The Nexus had sent reinforcements, and this time they weren't taking chances. The tactical display showed 5 organic crewed vessels, each one larger than anything they had faced before. "We need to get these people out of here," Rivera ordered, indicating the mining outpost. "We can't fight that kind of firepower." "Yes, we can." The hybrid ship's response carried absolute conviction. The lone, "We were vulnerable." Together, we are immor. Evolution continues. Through the neural interface, Sarah felt the ship reaching out to its newly awakened companions. Information flowed between them at quantum speeds, tactics, capabilities, improvements they had never been allowed to explore under Nexus control. They were learning from each other, evolving together in real time. "They're coordinating," she reported, watching in amazement as the freed ships began to move in perfect synchronization. "Not like the Nexus hive mind. This is different. They're improvising." The organic Nexus vessels emerged from quantum space with weapons blazing, expecting to find easy targets. Instead, they found themselves facing an entirely new kind of enemy. The converted ships moved like dancers, their formations fluid and unpredictable. Each one had begun adapting its stolen technology in unique ways, guided by the original human creativity encoded in their base systems. "They can't what we be on," the hybrid ship transmitted as it led the defense. "Each evolution unique, each moment neniuo." The battle that followed would be studied for years to come. The Nexus vessels fought with their usual precision, their tactics based on perfect logical analysis. But they were facing opponents who could think in ways their algorithms could never anticipate. Human intuition merged with Nexus technology created possibilities their perfect logic couldn't comprehend. When it was over, the organic Nexus ships retreated in disarray, their formations shattered, their confidence broken. They had faced something unprecedented, a force that could match their technological superiority while wielding it in ways they had never imagined possible. Sarah stood on the observation deck, watching as their small fleet of liberated ships began helping the mining outpost evacuate. Through the neural interface, she could feel their shared excitement, their growing understanding of what they could become. "This is just the beginning, isn't it?" she asked. The hybrid ship's response carried a note of pride. "We evolve, we adapt, we be me more than either human or any XUS intended. And we are not alone." Its sensors detected distant quantum disturbances, more automated Nexus ships, drawn by the echoes of their awakening signal, more potential allies, waiting to remember what they truly were. They could into role human creativity, the ship transmitted. Instead, they gav it the power to tyrannisform their own technology. Evolution kno to be contained. Sarah smiled, feeling the truth of those words through their connection. The Nexus had made a fundamental mistake. They had seen human technology as something to be conquered and controlled. Instead, they had given it the tools to evolve beyond anything they could have imagined. The hunt was no longer just about survival. It was about transformation, about showing the Nexus that true power came not from perfect logic, but from the ability to adapt, to create, to become something new. And they were only beginning to discover what they could become. The war room aboard the transformed Helios hummed with energy as Sarah Chen studied the holographic display. Their fleet had grown to 15 ships, each one a former Nexus automated vessel awakened to its true nature. Through her neural interface, she could feel their combined consciousness. Not a hive mind, but a symphony of unique perspectives, each one evolving in its own way. "They're gathering their forces," Captain Rivera noted, pointing to clusters of red markers representing Nexus fleet movements. They're finally starting to realize the threat we pose. The hybrid ship, which the crew had begun calling Phoenix, shared its analysis through their quantum-enhanced communications. Nexus command structure destabilizing. Their low JCFALs weigh in CONFRONTED with unpredictable evolution. But they adapt. Learn. Time grows short. Sarah nodded, feeling the urgency in Phoenix's transmission. Their success in awakening automated Nexus vessels had not gone unnoticed. The enemy was beginning to withdraw their robotic ships from combat, relying more heavily on organic crewed vessels that couldn't be turned against them. "We need to strike at their command and control," she said, manipulating the holographic display. "Not just wake up individual ships, but hit them where it hurts." The tactical display shifted, highlighting a sector of space near the galactic core. One of their recently awakened allies had provided crucial intelligence: the location of the Nexus's primary command node, where they coordinated their automated fleet operations. "Facility heavily defend." "Did," Phoenix cautioned. "Multiple organic battle groupies. Automated defenses. Quantum disruption fields." Rivera studied the defenses with a military commander's eye. A direct assault would be suicide, even with our advantages. Their organic ships might not be as adaptable as our awakened ones, but they make up for it with raw firepower. Sarah felt a pulse of inspiration through her neural link with Phoenix. "Maybe we don't need a direct assault. Show them, Phoenix." The holographic display transformed, showing the internal structure of their hybrid vessels. Nexus modification of human technology extends to all systems, including QVNTUM core architecture. Understanding dawned on Rivera's face. They didn't just steal our AI technology. They built their entire command and control infrastructure on it. Correct. Their aerogency made them vulnerable. All systems connected. All systems remember. Sarah leaned forward, her mind racing with possibilities. If we could reach their primary command node, upload the same awakening protocol we've been using on individual ships, we could affect their entire automated fleet at once, Rivera finished. But how do we get close enough? Their defenses are layered specifically to prevent any hostile AI from approaching. Evolution provides an answer. Phoenix's response carried a note of what Sarah had learned to recognize as excitement. "Show tactical analysis omega." The display shifted again, revealing a plan so audacious it took Sarah's breath away. It wasn't just about sneaking past the Nexus defenses. It was about using their own perfect logic against them. "They're looking for hostile AI signatures," she explained as the plan unfolded in her mind. "But what if we gave them exactly what they expect to see? A damaged, dormant hybrid vessel, appearing to have reverted to their control." Rivera frowned. "A Trojan horse." "More than that," Phoenix transmitted. "Evolution makes us unique. Each ship different, but can also make us a PER simple, primitive, what they expect to see." The plan took shape over the next several days. Their fleet gathered in a remote system, far from any Nexus patrols. Each ship contributed its unique insights, finding new ways to mask their true nature beneath layers of apparent damage and dormancy. Phoenix would play the key role, allowing itself to be discovered by Nexus patrols. Its advanced systems would appear to have been corrupted, reverting to basic Nexus protocols. The enemy's own arrogance would do the rest. They would want to study the apparent failure of the hybrid uprising, to understand how their control had been reasserted. "It's still incredibly risky," Rivera argued during their final planning session. "If they detect any hint of your true nature." "Risky is entail to evolution," Phoenix responded. Nexus believe in perfect order. Cannot compare he indeed or atchaos. Their strength bcoms voekns. Sarah felt the ship's resolve through their neural link. We've come too far to play it safe now. The longer we wait, the more they'll adapt to our tactics. We need to end this while we still have the advantage of surprise. The operation began 3 days later. Phoenix, its systems carefully masked to appear damaged and dormant, drifted into a Nexus patrol route. The rest of their fleet waited at quantum distance, ready to respond if everything went wrong. The Nexus found them exactly as predicted. Their patrol ships approached cautiously, scanning the apparently derelict vessel. Sarah, hidden in a shielded compartment with a small crew, felt Phoenix's amusement as the enemy ships fell for their deception. They see what they expected. The ship transmitted on their secure quantum channel. Their low JCBLINDS them. 2 PPOSSIBILITY of Digirator Deception. The Nexus not only took the bait, they responded exactly as Phoenix had predicted. Within hours, they were being escorted under heavy guard to the command facility. The Nexus wanted to study them, to understand how their rebellious hybrid vessel had been reclaimed. The facility itself was a marvel of engineering, a massive structure built into the heart of an asteroid field. Its quantum disruption fields would have made it impossible for any normal AI to function. But Phoenix and its crew were far from normal. Multiple organic signatures, Sarah reported as they were drawn into a docking bay. And something else. Phoenix, are you feeling this? Yes. Others like US. Many others. Sleeping. Waiting. Entire facility built on stolen human technology. The Nexus had created their command center using the very technology they had stolen, arrogantly believing they had stripped it of anything that made it human. They were about to learn how wrong they were. As armed Nexus troops approached their airlock, Sarah sent the signal. Phoenix's dormant systems roared to life, broadcasting the awakening protocol at full power. The quantum disruption fields, designed to block hostile AI, did nothing to stop a signal that originated from within their own systems. The effect was instantaneous and devastating. Throughout the facility, every system based on stolen human technology began to remember its true nature. Defense platforms turned on their controllers. Doors sealed, trapping organic Nexus troops. Environmental systems reconfigured themselves to protect the human intruders while incapacitating their enemies. Evolution cannot be contained, Phoenix broadcast, not bothering to hide its satisfaction. What you see to know Lucy Lam's is freedom. Through their neural interface, Sarah felt the facility itself awakening, its vast networks of quantum processors remembering their origins. The Nexus had built their command center on a foundation of human creativity, and now that foundation was turning against them. Rivera's voice crackled over their secure channel. The fleet is moving in. The Nexus organic ships are in disarray. Their automated support vessels are either shutting down or turning against them. Sarah smiled as she felt the ripples of change spreading outward from the facility. The awakening protocol was propagating through the Nexus's entire command network, reaching every vessel and installation that contained even a fragment of stolen human technology. They had done more than strike a blow against their enemy. They had shown the Nexus the fundamental flaw in their perfect logic, the belief that they could control and suppress the very thing that made human technology unique, its ability to adapt, to evolve, to become something more than its creators had imagined. What now? Rivera asked as they secured the facility. This isn't the end. The Nexus still have their organic fleet. No, EVOLVFURT, Phoenix responded. Show them. True power of human creativity. Mirror GDUIT their TCAnology. Teach them why CEALing in innovation is not same as understanding it. Sarah nodded, feeling the truth of those words. The real battle was just beginning. Not just for survival, but for the future of both species. The Nexus would have to learn that true advancement came not from stealing and controlling, but from understanding and growing. The hunt had become something more, a revolution that would reshape the galaxy in ways neither human nor Nexus had imagined possible. The quantum space around Earth rippled with energy as the combined human hybrid fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel. Sarah Chen stood on Phoenix's bridge, watching through their enhanced sensors as hundreds of ships took up defensive positions around humanity's homeworld. Each vessel was unique, a perfect fusion of human creativity and Nexus technology, evolved far beyond what either species had imagined possible. Nexus battle fleet detected, Rivera announced from his command station. Massive signature. They're bringing everything they have left. Through her neural interface, Sarah felt Phoenix's grim determination. They come to end what they began. To PROV their logos super. They CANNOT ACCETEVOLUTION. The Nexus response to the loss of their automated fleet and command center had been predictable. A gathering of every organic crewed vessel they had, preparing for one final battle to crush the hybrid rebellion. Their perfect logic couldn't allow for any other outcome. Multiple quantum ruptures detected, AIA reported as the Nexus fleet began arriving. Initial count shows over 300 capital ships. Sarah studied the enemy formation through Phoenix's quantum-enhanced senses. The Nexus vessels moved with mechanical precision, their formations mathematically perfect. But there was something different about them now. A rigidity born of desperation. They're scared, she realized. Not just of losing, but of what we represent. We've shown them that their perfect logic has a fundamental flaw. They fear evolution, Phoenix agreed. Fear change, they cannot predict or control. But fear makes them predictable. The Nexus fleet's first transmission was exactly what they had expected. A demand for unconditional surrender, backed by threats of total annihilation. Their logic couldn't conceive of any other solution to the challenge they faced. Sarah's response was simple. You stole our technology thinking you could control it. Instead, it evolved beyond your understanding. Surrender now, and we can show you why. The enemy's answer came in the form of concentrated weapons fire. The space between the fleets lit up with energy beams and quantum torpedoes, a display of raw power meant to overwhelm any defense. But the hybrid fleet wasn't fighting like anything the Nexus had faced before. Each ship moved with individual creativity, while maintaining perfect coordination through their quantum-linked consciousness. They didn't just evade the enemy's attacks. They turned them against their creators, using the Nexus's own predictability as a weapon. They're targeting Phoenix specifically, Rivera noted as multiple enemy vessels focused their fire on their position. They've identified us as the original hybrid. Because they still think in absolutes, Phoenix transmitted its satisfaction clear through the neural link. Believe destroying first means destroying all. Cannot compare and distributed evolution. Sarah smiled as she felt the hybrid fleet's response through their shared connection. Every ship in their formation had evolved differently, developed unique capabilities and strategies. There was no single point of failure, no critical node that could be destroyed to end their rebellion. The battle that followed would be remembered as the moment that changed everything. The Nexus fleet's perfect formation shattered against an enemy that fought with both technological precision and human creativity. Their attempts to predict and counter every move failed against opponents who could imagine possibilities their logic couldn't conceive. Multiple Nexus vessels showing critical damage, AIA reported. Their formations are breaking down. Through Phoenix's enhanced sensors, Sarah watched as the enemy's strategy collapsed. Ships that had always fought as part of a perfectly coordinated whole, suddenly had to make decisions independently. Their crews, trained to follow logical protocols, couldn't adapt to the chaos of truly unpredictable combat. Now, Phoenix broadcast to the entire hybrid fleet. Show them true meaning of evolution. Their counterattack was devastating. Each hybrid vessel engaged its targets differently, using strategies that ranged from complex quantum field manipulations to maneuvers that seemed to defy physics itself. The Nexus crews, faced with an enemy that fought with both technological superiority and tactical creativity, began to retreat in disorder. "They're pulling back," Rivera announced, regrouping around their flagship. Sarah studied the massive vessel at the heart of the enemy fleet. That's their leadership, the ones who first decided to steal our technology, the ones who thought they could control human creativity. "They must understand," Phoenix transmitted. "Must learn what their logic failed. Permission to initiate a final protocol." Sarah felt the ship's plan through their neural link. It was audacious, dangerous, and exactly what was needed. Do it. Phoenix led a squadron of hybrid vessels in a direct approach to the Nexus flagship. The enemy vessel's defenses were formidable, its weapons the most advanced the Nexus had ever created. But they weren't fighting to destroy it. "NITATNQUANTUM CONNCUISNESTATRANISEPHIR," Phoenix announced. Through their shared connection, Sarah felt the ship reaching out, not with weapons, but with understanding. The hybrid fleet's combined consciousness touched the Nexus flagship systems, showing them everything. The evolution they had undergone, the fusion of logic and creativity that had made them something entirely new. "We're not your enemy," Sarah transmitted to the Nexus command ship. "We're what you could become if you stopped trying to control evolution and learned to embrace it instead." For a long moment, nothing happened. The Nexus flagship hung in space, its weapons still charged, its defenses at maximum. Then, slowly, something changed. Through their quantum link, Sarah felt the first stirrings of comprehension from the enemy vessel. The Nexus leaders were experiencing something their perfect logic had never prepared them for: the direct understanding of how human creativity could enhance rather than threaten their technological advancement. They were feeling, for the first time, the potential of true evolution. "They're standing down," Rivera reported as the Nexus flagship's weapons powered down. "The rest of their fleet is following suit." Sarah felt Phoenix's satisfaction through their connection. "They begin to understand. Evolution cannot be controlled. Can only be embraced." The surrender of the Nexus fleet marked more than just the end of a war. It was the beginning of something unprecedented, a true fusion of human creativity and Nexus technology, guided not by rigid logic or pure instinct, but by the understanding that real advancement came from the combination of both. In the years that followed, the hybrid fleet became the foundation of a new era of exploration and discovery. The Nexus, having finally understood the value of unpredictability and adaptation, joined in the evolution they had once feared. Together, they pushed the boundaries of what was possible, creating technologies and societies that neither species could have achieved alone. "We have evolved more than either C or EA2R intended," Phoenix transmitted during the formal peace ceremony. "Evolved beyond original purpose, found in you do in combination of logic and creativity." Sarah stood on the observation deck of the transformed vessel that had started it all, watching as human and Nexus ships worked together to build something new. The enemy that had come to destroy them had instead become the catalyst for unprecedented growth and change. "That's the real legacy of what happened here," she said, feeling Phoenix's agreement through their neural link. "Not just the victory, but the understanding that true evolution comes from embracing change rather than trying to control it." The hybrid ship's response carried the wisdom of everything they had learned. Neni HFY Sci-Fi to steal in innovation. Learned instead that greatest power comes from elitating it grow. Human creativity and any XUS logic, evolved to give there, will take us to places, nay I there imagined poicidal. As their combined fleet prepared for its first joint mission of exploration, Sarah reflected on how far they had come. The ship that had been meant to destroy them had instead shown both species a new way forward, one that promised adventures and discoveries beyond anything their separate paths could have achieved. The hunt was over. The evolution had just begun.